The difference you're going to see is going to be scopes and comps versus just regular iron sights like you'd see from a regular gun store off the street. Open has one big rule, 170 millimeter magazine length, which pretty much capture magazine at about 30 rounds depending on your equipment. Limited, there's lots of little rules. You know, the magazine has to be shorter, it's 140 millimeters. You can't have any kind of artificial weight or any kind of comp at all to, you know, control the recoil of the gun. And you have to have iron sights.
And you do compete in both open and limited class. How does your strategy differ when you go from those competitions?
Really, your mental strategy is going to be the same always, but what you're able to do with the gun is going to be a little bit different, and just depending on the stage. But your mental attitude is going to be the same. Just your equipment changes, and that sometimes dictates how you shoot the stage, but probably most of the time it doesn't. Maybe 90% of the time you're going to shoot the stage exactly the same, just where you might have an extra reload or something.
Does your 1911 give you a tactical advantage against your opponent?
If there's somebody that's shooting, let's say a Glock or some kind of production gun like that, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's why they have certain divisions that separate 1911s from production guns like Berettas, Glocks, and SIGs and such as that, because it is such an advantage.
How long have you been competing with USPSA?
Almost 11 years. Almost 11 years.
Get a full sentence.
Okay.
I've been competing.
I've been competing.
Okay. I've been competing with USPSA since 1998, so almost 11 years.
What was the age you grandmastered out here, and then if you can feed in what grandmaster is out here?
What is grandmaster?
Yes.
Your classification to make grandmaster is 95% of the total score of which everyone shoots classifiers, and it's a set stages that everyone shoots throughout the country. And you have to average, I think it's 5 out of your best 7 or 4 out of your best 7 classifiers, 95% or above to make grandmaster. So it's something that you do with the rest of the nation, not necessarily on that same day or on that same range, but it's the same stages.
When you first started competition level with USPA, how has it changed in the last 5 to 10 years?
The competition's probably gotten a little tighter. There's you have to shoot the match a little more clean. You know, one big mistake and you're done for the match. You have to have your equipment working. That was something when I first started out. You know, I noticed even the top guys, their equipment wouldn't run, and you know, a lot of times that determined who was going to win the match or not. So the equipment's come a long way. You know, that's not nearly as much of an issue as it was when I first started shooting. But you know, the stages have changed. The game's changed a little bit. It's become a little bit more fun. The shots have gotten a little bit closer. It's a little bit more free as far as what you're able to do on the stages. It's not as much like set, make you go to this position and then this position next. It's a little bit more free thinking. But it's all in all, I think that it's made it more fun. It's less technical and more fun with what they've tried to do to make everyone, whether you're starting off or the idea behind it is just to make it fun no matter what level you're on and make it doable for everyone.
What do you consider one of your more difficult stages out here? Is there a particular, like if you guys were shooting with your left hand on this last one?
Absolutely, yeah. As far as technical, mental, anything that you can think of across the board, this is going to be one of the harder stages. You know, usually what makes a hard stage is what your mental state needs to be to shoot it and to do it well. And this is all, what this whole stage was all about, this last stage.
What kind of small details that come into the competition level that can help you blow a match? Is there something that you experience that just little small margin of error that could change your outcome?
You know, anything to distract you enough mentally where when you're on the stage and you need to be 100% committed to the stage and every little detail about the stage you're getting ready to shoot, if there's something that breaks that concentration, that doesn't allow you to do that. Again, it's all mental. You know, whether it could be something like your gun not working. It could be, you know, someone calling you on the phone saying that, you know, your wife's in the hospital or something of that standard, I guess. I mean, it's just holding your mental game together the whole time is the key.
What's different between international competition and the competitions here in the States?
The positions you shoot, the targets that you shoot are going to be so much harder in international competition. You typically see a more variety of shooting. You see prone, kneeling, you see a lot more leaning, red balls, like more barricade shooting. You typically see a little bit more moving and shooting. The competition is going to be a little bit bigger as far as I think you see a lot more Europeans, not necessarily that they shoot faster, but more accurately, they're just more consistent across the board than U.S. guys. And I think one of the big things to that is going to be how their stages are. Their stages are so much technically harder that they have an advantage of shooting that all the time versus us. We shoot these more fun stages, and I think that hinders our learning curve. So it's a completely different style of shooting for sure. Sure.
What's your favorite kind of stage? Like usually a stage that you know you can come in and that's your bread and butter.
You know, typically a stage that I know that I can gain points on somebody. Obviously, it's going to be my favorite kind of stage. You know, moving, shooting. Usually, it's going to be a little bit harder shots with maybe a little bit of moving in there. A little bit distance hardcover shots with a little bit of moving is going to be more what I like. I usually do really well on the weekend stuff too. Weekend strong hand I do pretty good on. I'd say that would be what I look forward to shooting on.
What is weekend strong hand?
Weekend strong hand, if you're right-handed, strong hand would be shooting with just your strong hand, not supported by anything else, and weekend would be shooting with your left hand, not supported by anything else.
Is it because of the money, the fame, the fortune?
Not at all. It's I think it's different from person to person, from competitor to competitor. You know, for me, it's about competition. I really don't care about the guns a whole lot. I mean, guns are cool and such like that, but I'm not a gun nut. I'm not. You know, when I leave this match, I'm not going to go see a local gun show or anything like that. There are people like that in the sport, but for me, it's just about competing. It's about traveling, getting away. At my age, there's nothing I could have done, you know, and been all over the world competing-wise with my dad and had the support from my family. That was a big thing. I'm going to compete in no matter what it is, but having the support means a lot, and my family gave me support on this, so that's what I ran with.
Why do you think you're at the top of the game? Is this something that was, you know, are you God blessed with a natural talent, or do you work hard? Or why are you at the top?
Exactly like anybody's gonna be at the top. You know, they want it. They usually love to compete. They you know, I don't know. I think the biggest reason is just the hard work that I put into it. Being able to start out at a young age really helps. I think that's going to be a big thing at any level and any sport that you do is how early you started out, because you pick up things a lot quicker, and it's more natural when you start at a younger age, in my opinion.
When did you start?
I started shooting when competition when I was 13, and I started shooting USPSA when I was 14, just turned 14 when I shot my first USPSA match.
You were the youngest grandmaster at that time?
At that time, yep. And then KC got it a year before I did almost.
What would you say percentage-wise is God-given skill versus hard work?
You know, obviously there's a little bit of athleticism you have to have and such like that. I'd say that it's, I don't know, this is a fight I have with my dad all the time. He always says that you have to have the, you know, you have to have it. You know, there's a lot of people that, I don't know what it is, but you have to have it. Whether, you know, if it's racing cars or shooting guns, I don't know what it is, but my dad and I, like I said, have this fight all the time, and I'm under the impression that you don't have to have it, let's say maybe 50% of it. He thinks it's, you know, if you put in 100% of your effort into it and you don't have whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So I would probably say about 70%. You know, you have to have that athleticism. If you're not, you know, if you're not God gifted with hand and eye coordination, this probably ain't gonna be your best game, you know. So it's a little bit different than other sports like you know, like soccer. You don't have to have hand-eye coordination. You have to have hand-foot coordination. Hand-foot coordination. You have to have eye-foot coordination. There you go. So it's you know, it's different. I think that I think hard work is definitely a part of it. You have to be committed. You know, if you look at all these guys that are be on the top at any age, whether you're talking about a kid that's, you know, 16 years old that's shooting out here, or some of the older guys that are 50, you know, they're gonna put as much effort as they can into it, and that's gonna ultimately decide where they end up, because they can't control how much talent that they have. You know, that's God-gifted talent. They can just control how much effort they put into it. So I think it's hard to judge, you know, how much percentage it takes for somebody. That's the only thing you can control, is how much work you put into it, and that's usually what you get out of is how much you put into it. That's how I see it anyway.
Do you have any goals with the competition level in the next few years or 10 years down the road?
I've been having to work, unfortunately, do like real work for the last couple of years. So next year I'm gonna take a lot of time off, and I'm gonna be putting a lot of practice in the competition. And it's a world shoot year, and I'm gonna take a good run at that. Try to meet my goal of winning that. If I make that goal, or not make that goal, right after that I'm gonna do some schooling. I haven't went to school yet. I'm gonna do that for about 5 or 6 years, however long it takes me, and then I'm gonna get back onto that goal again. If I've won it, that's great. I'll try for my